Hi, good morning. We're here with Jonny Ross from Jonny Ross Music. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing, Mike?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Um, let's get things started. If you could just tell us a little bit about who you are, what it is you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jonny Ross, and I run Jonny Ross Music. I've been doing it since 2011, so that'll be 12 years. And yeah, we are a music agency that specialises in providing musicians, DJs, bands, performers to weddings, corporate events, cruises, and anything really that requires live music. So yeah, I've been doing it for 12 years, but in many ways, I've kind of been doing it forever because I've been playing music for a number of years. And when I was about 14, I played in a band. And whilst it sounds a bizarre way of answering it, we used to hire a hall out and invite our friends to come and play. So in many ways, it feels like, whilst that wasn't a business at that point, it does feel like I've done it forever. And then when we got to about 16, we started playing in pubs. And from there, I funded my way through university from playing in bars and pubs. And then after university, once I graduated, I took the decision to take it up and do it professionally. So it was kind of, in my formative years, a hobby that we made a bit of pocket money on the side. And then eventually I turned that into
Into a business.
fully fledged business. So yeah, whilst I've done it professionally for 12 years, it does feel like I've done it for forever in many ways as well.
But what do you play though? What instruments do you play?
So I sing and play guitar, play piano a little bit as well. But yeah, my kind of main instrument is my voice. And I play guitar and I play in a band. And not so much these days. I used to do around 120 events a year, whereas I probably do 20, 25 a year now. And that's mainly because as the business has grown, I've obviously got to put a lot of effort and time into working during the week as opposed to the weekends. But then I still do it purely out of love and just enjoy hanging out with my band as well. And it's good to kind of, keep involved in the music scene as well.
Nothing. Good stuff. So in terms of your business and what makes you stand out, what do you think is that kind of unique point for you guys?
I don't know if it necessarily, my answer for this, I don't know if it necessarily makes us stand out, but what makes us unique is that we are an agency that's founded and run by musicians. So the people that work from an operational side of view within the office are all either DJs or musicians, ex-musicians or current musicians within the business. So I think we always look at the business from a musician's perspective. And we use that to empower our musicians to be able to do their jobs the best. And we've seen over the years that the more we take care of the musicians and think of it from their angle, they naturally take care of the customer as well. A lot of people who run a music agency want to be involved in the music industry, but aren't necessarily musicians and performers. So like we know what a good musician is from a professional point of view and a performance point of view. And we always think of the reality of a gig for the musician to make it as fun, enjoyable, and beneficial for them as possible. And as a result of that, they always do a good job and get good reviews, and has led to us having a good reputation within the industry.
Excellent. So, how, in terms of your journey then, and starting 12 years back and to now, what's it been like? How would you describe it? Is there some people say roller coaster, or has it been plain sailing? What's the journey been like for you?
As I said, start when I was 18, I left school and my dad just said, "Oh, you should perform full time for a living and not bother with the university." And I said, "That's a rubbish idea, Dad." And and didn't
so it's the other way around, isn't it?
Didn't do it. And then went to university and funded my way. I had a year out to begin with, working, just performing in pubs and bars and just figuring out what I wanted to do. Then I went to university, did the same there, funded my way through, and then left university and I got a graduate job for 3 months, which was selling industrial fencing. And it was possibly the most depressing 3 months of my life. And on the side, I was performing at weddings and making a good amount of money on it. And then one day I went into the office and they said, "Oh, the business is struggling. Does anyone want to leave and be made redundant?" And I put my hand up there on the spot. Yes, and he said, "Oh, we meant behind closed doors, but I guess now you've told us." And then they gave me like a month's salary to leave, which I was delighted with. And then from there, I started my business. And to begin with, it was me performing in a band, just playing at weddings, bars, And then gradually we grew that into an agency. And then, yeah, we do music all over the world, to be honest. We do it in Tahiti, we do music in the Caribbean, and we do probably about 2,500 events a year. So it grew from very kind of humble beginnings, I guess, so to speak. And then, yeah, obviously the last 4 years has certainly, was challenging for 2 of the years with COVID thrown in, because we were possibly the most, unattractive business to own during COVID, because it was not only illegal to work, but impossible to work. But then, we did get out of it, and we came out, really well. But once it came out of, kind of lockdown and COVID, we were probably the best business to be in, because everyone was having a party, to the point where the only time in my career I had musicians complaining about that they didn't want any more work, which, you've never, you don't often hear it. As self-employed musicians, you don't hear musicians asking for less work. So it's
so how have you gone across the world then in terms of booking acts? Is that just through networking and building that up?
To be honest, just by chance. I mean, we provide music in Tahiti every single month. Someone flies out, and that came about by me playing tennis. So randomly enough, I was playing tennis against someone, and they mentioned that they had a contact who was looking for some work as a DJ in the UK. He'd just come back from Tahiti, met up with him. We gave him some work. He did a really good job, and he kind of said, "Oh, I'd like to return the favor and get you out to Tahiti." And it was one of them things where I thought, that's not going to happen. That's just someone, talking big. And then I was literally there 2 weeks later in Tahiti performing, and then I've been ever since. So that was a look. And then again with the I think we got the work in the Caribbean, which again we do probably once a month. That was just by someone coming across us online. So it was just I guess being in the right place at the right time sometimes.
How big's your team now?
So we have 4 full-time employees, and then we represent about 50 musicians in total. So go on. Sorry, quite a small team, I guess, in kind of in line with how many events we do a year, but most of the work that's been undertaken is by the 50 musicians that work for us.
Brilliant. So what does the future hold? What are the challenges that you've got? What are your kind of plans?
I guess, for us, I mean, like I feel like in the last year, I've kind of realized we've reached a point in the industry where we're fully established now, in the sense that a lot of people know us, a lot of, big companies know us, a lot of, big brands know us and rely on us for entertainment. And we've got to that point now where, we class ourselves as a regional business to the extent that we do, whilst we do international work, but the kind of lion's share of our work is within kind of the north and some in the south. We're at the point where we could probably grow to a national level if we wanted to. But for us, the one thing that's kind of going back to your other question is that what makes us unique is that we're very personal in our approach to our customers. So we kind of I will always answer the phone if someone needs to speak to me, and we have a really good relationship with all our musicians. So it's kind of, if we want to go to a national level, it's kind of balancing the wholesome personal approach whilst still trying to aim to be a bigger business as well. And that's not something that we're necessarily going to go national, but it's certainly something that's on the cards and feels like the next move. So if we were to do that, that would be probably the next plan, I guess.
Then of what you've learned today being in business, if there's one lesson you can share, what would that be? I know sometimes 1 or 2 come up, so if it does expand into a few more, don't worry. I always think that it's important to make the business work for you and the people around you. I think a culture is probably the most important part of any business, and that's making sure that people are happy, people are in a position to work well, and also balance that with their personal life as well. And I think as long as people are happy, then that's probably the main thing in a business. Because I think when you start a business, your attitude is that the number one goal is I just need lots and lots of work, because obviously you're in a position where you've got no business, and you do go through that period of trying to work really hard, and then also probably not taking care of yourself, and then thinking about that people might need time off. So it's about I think you should always make sure the business works for you and the people around you, and that it's a social and also a professional thing. Sure. Wise words. Good lesson shared. Yeah. Thank you for that. So in terms of inspiration for you, what what does that look like? Do you use to inspire you, or what inspires you to do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive sports fan, so I kind of, my main interest, if it's not music, is sport. And to be honest, as the older I've gotten, the more I'm into sport, and I have a lot. I'm kind of a bit of a serial hobbyist, and I watch a lot of sport, and I use kind of sport as inspiration for life professionally. So whether it's someone training hard and then getting really good end results, that for me is something that really inspires me. And like, I'm probably my favorite sport is golf. And there was a moment a couple of years ago where Scotty Scheffler, he four-putted on the last hole to win the Masters, and he got a lot of stick for it because four-putting in golf is kind of something that should never happen, especially for someone as a professional level. But the way I took that is he four-putted and won the biggest goal in his career, and he won it comfortably as well. So it kind of, what I took from that is leave yourself in a position where you can four-put and still succeed. And that for me, that was really inspiring, because it was a kind of a perfect blend of someone messing up and succeeding at the same time. So if you do put yourself where something doesn't go right in business, as long as you're in a position where you're still succeeding, then you should always, try and position yourself in that place.
It's another good share. Thank you very much, Jonny. So lastly, in terms of any latest news around what you're up to, or sharing simply your website, if any of us want to get in touch, feel free.
Yeah, so the next thing another thing as well that I probably should mention that makes us unique as an agency is that we do these events where all our bands play in one night, and customers come along and watch them and book them, whether it's someone for a hotel or someone getting married, and they come up, and we probably get about 400 people coming and watching 10 bands in one night, and it's a really good night of business for us. And we've got our next one coming up on the 7th of July at Rudding Park, which is kind of a hotel golf resort in Harrogate. And yeah, and that's for us is like kind of one of the biggest nights of the year, and we've just kind of confirmed that and got that coming up. And then really it's just, we've got a very busy year of work ahead, as we always do. So it's kind of, once we get to May, it's just focusing on making sure that all the events go well, and we everyone has a great time.
Jonny, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best for the next 12 years at least.
Good
luck with everything. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Cheers, Mike.